Queremos que sepan que creemos firmemente en la inocencia.
We firmly believe in Ruth's innocence and that her unfair imprisonment has been the catalyst for us in exile to come together and organize, to join the fight for her liberation.
Para sumarnos a la lucha por su liberación.
That's Salvadoran attorney Berta Maria de Leon during the inauguration in Mexico City of the Committee of Salvadoran Exiles, marking 1 year since the arrest of Cristosal attorney and human rights defender Ruth López. I'm Roman Gressy, the editor of El Faro English, and you're listening to Central America in Minutes.
In Nicaragua, the house arrest of Daniel Ortega's brother
relates more to El Salvador and Honduras than to Guatemala. In the case of Guatemala,
globalism comes to die at CPAC, but in El Salvador, it's already dead.
Central America in Minutes, an original podcast by El Faro English.
This week marked 1 year since the Salvadoran regime arrested renowned attorney Ruth López, leader of anti-corruption and justice initiatives at Cristosal, a prominent human rights organization in Central America. Her family and lawyers are urgently demanding information about her health, access to medical records, and an in-person visit to verify that she's receiving adequate medical care. Last week, López's family found out that she was admitted to the hospital and had surgery without their knowledge. According to Cristosal, López is one of 86 political prisoners in El Salvador, and among the 245 people who've been persecuted politically as of May 2026. Access to López's judicial case file remains restricted, just as it is for 85,000 case files open during the country's regime of exception, according to an estimate by El Faro. In June 2025, Amnesty International declared Ruth López a prisoner of conscience, and later in September, the Inter-American Commission on Human Rights ordered measures to protect her right to life. During the year she's been in custody, Ruth has received 5 international awards for her advocacy for human rights. In May 2025, the police took her from her home under false pretenses. They arrested her on charges of alleged embezzlement while she served as chief advisor to the president of the Supreme Electoral Tribunal from 2009 to 2014. They also accused her of helping divert funds from government bank accounts. In El Salvador, Bukele controls the judiciary and prosecutor's office. 17 days after her arrest, she was ordered to pretrial detention. The charges were later changed to illicit enrichment, which is striking because during the first 5 years of Bukele's administration, it was Ruth López who exposed more than 50 cases of corruption and misuse of public funds. Her arrest marked a turning point for human rights in El Salvador. A month later, at least 50 journalists and activists fled into exile. As we reported in a profile of Ruth last December, the Salvadoran dictatorship sent a warning to the entire country: keep quiet or risk going to jail.
Hola, I am Leirian Colon Santiago, a journalist at El Faro English and one of the reporters of this episode. Do you get our newsletter? Go to elfaro.net/en and subscribe to dig deeper into Central America.
On April 29th, an anonymous website called Hondurasgate published several audio clips attributed to former Honduran President Juan Orlando Hernández. These recordings also implicated current President Nasri Asfura and global right-wing figures like Donald Trump and Benjamin Netanyahu in an alleged plot to return Hernández to power. Diario Red and Canal Red, outlets led by former Spanish politician Pablo Iglesias, also broadcasted the audio. The recordings claimed Israel paid to free Hernández from prison in January, after he was sentenced to 45 years for drug trafficking charges in 2024. They also claimed Hernández, Trump, and Argentinian leader Javier Milei wanted to set up disinformation agencies in Mexico and Colombia. Sitting presidents Claudia Sheinbaum and Gustavo Petro reacted to the audio and denounced the alleged sabotage. But the publication lacked basic journalistic standards. Key claims had no clear sources, and it was unclear how the outlet verified the voices. It did not include responses from the people allegedly speaking. Hernández and others quickly denied that it was their voices. On May 3rd, Hondurasgate and Iglesias' outlets published what they called an expert report. They claimed the audio was authentic, citing software from a Czech company called Phonexia. But the report only said the voices were human. It could not identify the speakers or the recording dates. Days later, Fonexia told Honduran outlet Contracorriente that the publications did not use their software, and they announced legal action against Hondurasgate. Contracorriente conducted its own investigation. They looked into the Hondurasgate YouTube channel. It was created in 2022 under the name Elon Musk Noticias and renamed as NotiBloom. Before the 2025 elections, it spread unverified conversations about an alleged plot against the electoral process, fitting into the ruling party Libre's fraud narrative. Contracorriente sought comments from Pablo Iglesias. He didn't respond, but told other outlets that, as far as he was concerned, the audit proved the voices were authentic. But Iglesias also acknowledged his team did not seek comment from Hernández, which goes back to those basic journalistic standards. Because, quote, it is not their journalistic practice to seek comments from people serving a 45-year sentence for drug trafficking, like Hernández. This is Jennifer Avila, the director of Contracorriente.
O sea, la gente cree que hacer periodismo es recibir
People seem to believe that doing journalism simply consists of receiving a leak and running it through an AI tool. Major outlets failed to verify the source of the information and republished it regardless.
Grandes medios que han sido referentes en el periodismo.
Okay, one more thing. Every week, we translate Central America in under 10 minutes. Go to support.elfaro.net to help us continue.
Now to Guatemala. On Sunday, May 17th, a new attorney general took office after 8 years under the leadership of Consuelo Porras. She was sanctioned in more than 40 countries and named Corrupt Person of the Year in 2023 by OCCRP. President Arevalo has now appointed Gabriel Garcia Luna, a career judge and judicial discipline official. The understated choice was a very Arevalo move. But Garcia Luna made his first big decision early. In his first press conference, he declared that he would dissolve the Special Prosecutor's Office Against Impunity, the office led by Rafael Curruchiche, who is close to Porras and has also been internationally sanctioned. Curruchiche, the man in question, played a key role in the criminalization of journalists, such as José Rubén Zamora. The new AG has also proposed a special commission to review all cases of criminalization handled by Curruchiche's office. Expectations rest not only on Garcia Luna, but also on President Arevalo, who throughout his years in office has claimed Porras was an obstacle to governance. But for constitutional lawyer Edgar Ortiz, it might not be a great change. Quote, I believe his governing style will change because there will be less repression, but I don't think the substantial changes he'll make will improve things significantly, he told El Faro English, referring to Arevalo. Porras clung to her final days in power. She tried to stay in the game by running for the Constitutional Court, the country's highest court, which in 2022 cleared the way at the last minute for her to be appointed to a second term. But she failed, so she pivoted. Despite Arevalo's statement that she had no chance of being chosen, she decided to run for a third term as Attorney General. She oddly achieved the highest score on the initial list of candidates, but in the end, she didn't make it. Amid this chaos, her Salvadoran counterpart, Attorney General Rodolfo Delgado, visited her to recognize her for her work, the very work that led to the international condemnations. In the end, Consuelo Porras left the same way she led, mired in controversy, shielded by allies, and rejected by much of the international community. Her departure may signal the end of an era, but in Guatemala, the tables turn in a blink of an eye. This episode of Central American Minutes was written by Juliana Ramazzini, Leirian Colón Santiago, and Gabriel Labrador. I edited today's episode with sound design by Omnian. We'll be back next week. Hasta pronto.